Alright, so I actually did have a little bit of a technical difficulty. So unfortunately we are going into a fourth video, but the last video was only a couple minutes long. So we are looking at a few different ways of multiplying the same polynomial. So we have a binomial and we are multiplying it by a trinomial. We just did distributing. So now we are going to look at multiplying vertically. Again, we've still got our x squared plus 4x minus 2. And we're still multiplying it by the binomial of x plus 3. So vertically is a little bit of a different way. Okay, so the nice thing is that vertically we are going to line everything up together. So we've got our constants. We've got linear, which means just one single variable of x. We've got our quadratic. And then if we need to, we'll do cubic here. And then so on and so forth. Okay, so just like multiplying two numbers together, okay, we're going to do the same thing. So we've got negative 2 times 3 gives us negative 6. 3 times 4x gives us a positive 12x. And then 3 times x squared gives us a positive 3x squared. Now, we've multiplied everything by 3. So let's go ahead and multiply everything by this x. Notice that when I do x times negative 2, I don't, I don't get a constant. So if you need to, go ahead and put a 0 here. So then I have x times negative 2 gives me a negative 2x. X times 4x gives me 4x squared. And then x times x squared is going to give me x cubed. Now when I go through here, I just go down and I add. I've got x cubed plus 7x squared plus 10x minus 6. Notice this answer is exactly the same as what we got in the first one. If you would like to see more vertical options, just email me or message me on Remind and I can show you a few more examples of that as well. Alright, and then again, same problem, x squared plus 4x minus 2 times the binomial of x plus 3. So in our first little box here, we get x cubed, so x times x squared gives us x cubed. X times 4x is going to give us 4x squared. And then x times negative 2 gives us negative 2x. Move on to our 3, we've got 3 times x squared gives us 3x squared. 3 times 4x is going to give us 12x. 3 times negative 2 is going to give us negative 6. Just like in all previous ones, we're going to go through and combine our like terms. So our x cubed has nothing to combine with. Combine our x squareds to get a positive 7x squared. Combine our x values, so we get a positive 10x. And then our constant here is just by itself and we get a negative 6. Again, this is exactly the same as what we got for the previous two. So there are multiple ways of getting the same answer. You can distribute. You can do vertical multiplication, or you can use a table or a grid, whichever way works best for you. All right, so there's one last thing that I want to look at, and that's what if we are multiplying multiple things together? Okay, so we've just got two examples here. So just like if I had, let's say I have 3 times 4 times 5. I would do 3 times 4, that gives me 12, and then I multiply that by 5 to get 60. Alright, I don't do 3 times 4, and then 3 times 5, and then multiply them together. Okay, a lot of you might want to do, alright, well 3 times 4 is 12, 3 times 5 is 15, and then multiply those together, but that's not how that works. Okay, you multiply 3 times 4 gives you 12, times 5 gives you 60. Same thing happens when we are multiplying multiple polynomials. Just like how I would do just 3 times 4 here. First, let's focus on just multiplying these first two binomials. So here, I'm going to use the FOIL method. All right, I've got x times 4x. I've got 4x squared. X times negative 2 gives me a negative 2x. 3 times 4x gives me a positive 12x. And then 3 times negative 2 gives me a negative 6. Okay, so I am putting parentheses around this, and then I bring along my 5x minus 1. Just to make it a little easier, I am going to go ahead and I'm going to combine my like terms right here. So in my parentheses here, I've got 4x squared plus 10x minus 6, and I'm going to multiply that by 5x minus 1. Now from here, you could go back here and you can choose, do I want to distribute? Do I want to multiply vertically? Or do I want to do a table? Whichever way works best for you. Since I haven't done a whole lot showing you vertically, I'm going to do this one vertically. So I've got 4x squared plus 10x minus 6, and I'm multiplying that by 5x minus 1. I've got my constants, my single x, my x squared, and then I would do x cubed, so on and so forth. Negative 1 times negative 6 gives me a positive 6. Negative 1 times 10x, negative 10x. Negative 1 times 4x squared gives me a negative 4x squared. Done with that negative 1. So I move on to my 5x. 5 times negative 6 gives me a negative 30x. And again, if you need to, go ahead and put that 0 right here, since we know that since we've got this x, there's not going to be any chance of having a constant. 5x times 10x. 5 times 10 is 50. Get my x squared, so it'd be a positive 50x squared. And then 5x times 4x squared. 5 times 4 gives me 20. And then x squared times x gives me x cubed. And then I just go through and I add or combine my like terms. So my final answer of multiplying 3 binomials together is going to be 20x cubed plus 46x squared minus 40x plus 6. And again, had you done distributing, make sure everything in the first goes to everything in the second, you would still get the same answer after combining like terms. Had you done the grid or the table, again, after combining like terms, you would still get the same answer. Alright, and then the next one. Again, we're just going to multiply these two binomials first. So I've got 7x times x. I get 7x squared. 7x times a negative 5 gives me negative 35x. 2 times x plus 2x. And then 2 times negative 5 gives me a negative 10. And I bring along this other binomial. To make it a little easier on myself, I'm going to go ahead and combine these like terms. Alright, so now, again, just because I haven't shown you very many examples of this, I'm going to go ahead and do it vertically again, just so you guys can see another example of that, since you've already seen multiple examples of distributing and of the grid or table method. Alright, so I've got 7x squared minus 33x minus 10, and I'm multiplying that by 2x plus 6. Alright, so 6 times negative 10, negative 60. If I do 6 times 33, let me just confirm this. Yep. If I do 6 times negative 33, I get a negative 198x. And then 6 times 7x squared, I would get a positive 42x squared. Done with my 6. Now I'm going to do 2x times negative 10. I don't get a constant, so I'm going to go ahead and put my 0 there, my little filler. 2x times negative 10 gives me a negative 20x. 2x times a negative 33x gives me a negative 66x squared. And then 2x times 7x squared gives me 14x cubed. And then I'm going to go through and I am going to combine all of my like terms. 42x squared minus 66x squared is going to give me a negative 24x squared. If I have negative 198 minus 20x, I'm going to get a negative 218x. And then I have minus 60. And this is going to be my final answer. The reason I like vertical when it comes to the bigger, when I've got like a cubic times a quadratic, is because it lines everything up nicely to just be added together. Okay, so again, you choose whichever way works best for you. There's lots of methods of doing this. If you have any questions, make sure that you email myself. Mr. Price is actually done being the sub for now, since we are doing teaching from home. He is going back to being retired, so that is exciting for him, even though he'll still sub if we need him. But since we are all working from home, just go ahead and email myself or message me through Remind and let me know what questions you might have. If you are unsure still of how to do this, again, make sure that you are writing all of this down. Make sure that you are asking questions if you're unsure. Go through the video multiple times if you need to. The nice thing is, even though there's 4 different videos, the nice thing is that if it's just one section that you're struggling on, you can just rewatch that particular video a few times. Alright, so good luck. You guys do have a Pearson assignment. So, again, let me know what questions you have.